Hello all my crafty people out there. It is time for a new project this week. And this project's going to be a little special. I have been on YouTube for a year. I might have mentioned that in my last video. But pretty excited. And because of that, I'm going to give away what we're going to make this week. And we're going to make a purse. So we're making a purse out of the leftover legs that we had last week's project, and I think this is denim. I mean, I'm not denim, vintage, and I know it's denim because you know how I am about that. And it's a nice faded, pretty color. So I think these will be great for the purse. I have a nice bright fabric picked out for the lining, kind of a mandolin kind of fabric. It'll be pretty inside, so that'll be for the inside. This is going to be something called a Phoebe bag, and I found it online. It was free to download. I will link it in the description. It was real easy to download. It wasn't one of those things where you had to go through 20 different steps to download it. Super simple. So I'll put that in the description. And the giveaway rules will be... and I'll try to type them up on the screen, but we'll see how that goes. But it will be in detail in the description. It's going to run from July 19th, this Friday, July 19th, 2024, until midnight, July 25th, 2024. And I will pick the winner and post them on the video for the July 26th, 2024, which is the next Friday. So you'll be able to enter from this time you see the video posted on Friday until next Thursday at midnight. And there you'll need to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you do all three of those things, then you have to be publicly subscribed. In other words, your subscriptions have to be publicly visible. Otherwise, I won't know you're a subscriber. I'll link a small video at the end of this to show you how to make sure you're publicly subscribed. Anyway, and in the comment, you'll need the secret word that I will be putting out within this video. Somewhere in the video, I will let you know what the secret word is, and you can put that in the comment. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of things to do. Like, subscribe, comment with a special word. But it's to make sure that you're real, that you're a person, you're not a bot, and, that you're a subscriber, you're following, you're enjoying content, I hope. So I will put all of the rules down in the description. This is not affiliated with YouTube. In other words, I'm responsible for everything going on, the giveaway, all of that. And all of that, and any information I receive, which would just be whatever contact information I need to send you your prize, will be used strictly for that. I'm not selling your information or anything crazy like that. It's just to get the purse to you. So, all of that being said, let's go start our purse. I think it's going to be fun, and I have a few alterations because, why would I just follow the pattern? So, see you at the table. Okay, everybody. These are the two little pattern pieces from what is called the Phoebe bag, I believe. Phoebe bag. So I'm going to cut these out and put them together, these two pieces, and then this is the little tab. And then the strap is actually supposed to be 2 by 20, 2 inches wide by 20 inches long. But I like a little wider strap, so I'm going to make mine 2.5 inches. That way, when I fold it in and make it, it'll be 1.5 inches wide instead of just 1 inch wide. And I'm also going to make it a little longer, and I'm going to add a little sizing buckle to it so we can size it up and down. So if you wanted to, you could wear it as a crossbody, or you could wear it just over the shoulder. And these are the little magnetic snaps that I'm going to put in the the little flap that goes over the front of the bag. And again, this is the denim I'm going to be using, and this is the interior fabric, the lining that we're going to use. This will also show up on the bottom of the strap, so it'll be a nice color kind of flash kind of thing. Alright, it's time to cut our jeans up, and I think I like the look of this seam. Obviously, it's the bolder seam, stitching wise and everything, but it's really curvy. This is a straighter seam over here, and I think this will be easier to work with for our bag. So I'm going to cut open on this seam and use this kind of as a decorative feature on the front and back of our bag. We're just going to have to make sure we kind of stagger the seams so they aren't too bulky. Otherwise, I'll be taking out the hammer and beating some seams down. So let's open both these up on the outside seam line. And it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go on the least bulky side here. And just cut down this seam. And then we'll cut the other one open. And we'll start laying out our pattern. Let's make sure this is going to give me what I think it's going to give me. Yeah. You see, I think with this one, it's going to get a much curvier look. This is a straighter edge, and this will give us a nice feature on the purse. So let me cut the other one, and then we'll work on putting the pattern together. Everybody, I started pinning it on, and I remembered I wanted to make the alteration. This little part where the strap hooks on is 1 inch because it makes 1 inch strap with the current pattern. And I want a little wider. I want 1.5 inches. So what I did is I took my hemming ruler and I measured from the corner all the way out 1.5 inches. Okay, so this is where I want my strap to stop. I hope you can see that. I marked it in blue. So I want my strap to start at 1/2 inch wider than this. So then I wanted to taper it into the bag to make it look like the rest of the bag. So I kind of just eyeballed it. It ended up being 4 inches down from there that I wanted to stop the tapering, I guess I should say. So I just measured 4 inches down until I met the side of the bag and just added that. So that's a 1/2 inch I'm adding to the side of the bag. And like I said, it's just to make sure that the strap is wider. I like a wider strap. It's more comfortable. And, makes a difference to me. So, especially if I'm going to wear it crossbody. So I'm going to cut this out. And then I'm going to cut my other side out. I'm cutting them one at a time. And I'm also going to have to be careful when I cut the other one out. I'm cutting this one real close to the edge of the seam here. But I got to make sure that I cut the other one either similar or really different depending on where I want that seam to fall on either side. And there will be a right and a wrong side to the bag because it's got a little tab that goes over. This is going to be a little tough. That goes over the top for a closure. So I'm just cutting these one at a time. And then I'm just going to keep that little 1/2 inch up there that I'm adding. That. Now, if you wanted to, you could cut this out before you cut the paper out, draw it on the paper pattern and cut it out. Or you could even use this piece of fabric as your next pattern piece to cut out. In other words, just lay it on top of your next piece of fabric instead of using the paper piece. It's completely up to you. And you don't have to alter the pattern at all. But I just wanted a little wider strap, so I altered it just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the tab, and this is the tab that'll go over the top of the purse with the little snap on it. I've got a piece of the lining fabric, and I've already put a piece of iron-on heat and bond extra firm interfacing. So I just ironed it on, and the reason I'm doing that is this is cotton, and this snap will get a little bit of wear and tear, so we want to make sure we make it as nice and secure as possible. We're also going to use the lighter side of the snap. Obviously the one with the little ball that goes into the magnet, that's the lightest side for this particular piece. I think that's the way it should be anyway. You should always have it going towards the bigger piece on the purse. So we'll set that aside. I'm going to take this apart. It's got a little back plate, and we're going to fold our little pattern in half so we can see where we want that snap to be. I'm going to put it on our fabric right here, and all we really need to do is mark the sides here like a little smiley face, and that will show us where we want to put the snap. Now take our little back plate, if I don't drop it, and we'll put it over this and make sure that we line up the little, try to line it up. Whoop. Yeah, right there. Okay, and all we're going to do is mark the inside of these little places where the tabs go, like that. Okay, see, we're going to fold it, and we're just going to clip little teeny tiny notches, not big ones, just enough to get those little pieces through. Okay, so we take this. Oh, I forgot about this. This is kind of like our little back plate, and what this is going to do, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put our things, as close to the middle as we can. This is not to be perfect. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to mark our little prong lines, and we're going to clip them. This is going to help stabilize the back and give it a little more, just a little more strength. Same thing, just cutting those little holes. So from the front, we're going to take our front of our snap and put it in. We'll push it down into our fabric. It comes out on the other side. We're going to put our little strengthener there, a little back plate there, on there. It doesn't matter. It can be circular. It can be, I've seen people use like heavy canvas or even leather back here. So then we'll put our little back plate on like that. And you may need a tool to do this. I think I can do it with my fingers. Most of the time I can. It's gonna hurt, but you push the prongs out like that. I hope you can see it without the glare. So now our snap is nice and secure. All we need to do is go over there, right sides together, sew around the tab, turn it inside out, and we're going to clip it with pinking shears around the curve to make sure it gets nice and sharp. We're going to sew around, pink it, turn it inside out, and then top stitch around the edge. I went over there and I just stitched around the edge to close it up, and we're going to use our pinking shears to trim close to our seams. It'll give it a sharper edge. Careful with your pinky shears, they will get through a seam fast. But it's kind of my way of cheating from putting notches in. I don't know, just never really liked that. There we go, all pinked. Then we're going to turn it inside out. And once we do that, we press it and we top stitch it. And there's our tab. We'll get it all involved with the purse in just a bit. push it out a little bit. There we go. We'll take our handy dandy tool here. Just kind of run the seam. Get it nice and rounded out. And there we go. There's our little tab with our snap in it. And now all we got to do is go top stitch around the edge and save it for when we're putting the bag together. All right, here's our straps up here, the little end piece and the big long one. I cut a pocket piece out of the denim earlier and didn't realize I needed 2 pieces. Wasn't thinking about it. I thought it was going to be one of those where you fold it in half, but they want it to be a little bigger, which is great because then I'm going to sew a center seam down so it makes 2 pockets. But I need 2 pieces of fabric, and I thought what I'd do is I'd make the outside of the pocket this, you know, the denim, and the inside the pretty lining fabric, because that's kind of how they do it with the professional ones. You still have the lining on the inside of the pocket, sometimes on the outside too. But with this particular fabric, you know, it's bold and in charge. Let me just do it with a rotary cutter real quick. And when you look into a bag to use the pocket, it's nice to be able to see the pocket. And if it's all the same fabric, let me cut that off. If it's all the same fabric, it's kind of hard to see. So that's why I want to put the denim on the front of the pocket, the side that you see in the inside, but again, so you can see it. Oops, thought I got that. All right, so now we have 2 pieces for the pocket, and this is a very simple pocket. They want us to sew it right sides together all the way around, leaving a hole so we can turn it, and then that's the pocket. Super simple, just average. And of course what I'm going to do is once I pull, turn it inside out, then I'll be sewing it down on 3 sides, so that will be closed up, but I'll probably do a top stitch on the top just so it's nice and crisp. So let me go over to the machine, and again, all I'm going to do is sew all 4 sides with a little bit of a hole left so I can turn it. See, just sewing around the edges. It's kind of hard to see because the thread blends in so well. But we're going to just clip our corners nice and tight so we'll get a sharp edge, or as sharp as possible with this denim. And all 4 of our corners are clipped. Then we're just going to turn it inside out. And we'll set it aside because, well, we'll probably just put it on we'll figure out where it's going to go on the lining. And then we can set it aside. Because we need to start putting the bag together. Oh, and the secret word is pocket. Pocket. I'll put it on the screen too. The secret word is pocket. So make sure you put the word pocket in your comment, and that way it'll be part of the selection when I do the random option to give away the bag. I can't talk today. What? Take our little sharp tool here and see if we can get a little bit sharper corner here. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Now I'm going to press this, and I will catch this opening when I put it on the facing. So I'll be stitching around and I'll catch the facing. So you don't have to do anything special with that. But pressing it will make it nice and neat. And I'm also going to find the center of it because I want to make it 2 pockets. So I'm going to sew a seam right down the middle so you have 2 pockets. You can get fancy and sew a thin one for like pens. You can get all kinds of stuff. But that one should be more than enough, wide enough to fit most phones in. Unless you got a phablet. I know a lot of people that have phablets. Phone's bigger than their head. So let me press that, and then we'll put it on one of our lining pieces and get going on construction of the whole bag. All right, here's one of our lining pieces, and it's already got the center found because we cut it on the fold, so that makes it pretty easy. And I folded this in half and put a little crease in it with the iron. We just got to decide where we want it to be. And it doesn't want it, you don't want it to be too far from the top, because you know that's being able to get into it, and you don't want it all buried at the bottom. So maybe about right there. That looks good. Centers are matched. I'm going to go stitch around the sides. Oh, and before I stitch around the sides, I'm going to do a top stitch on this side, and then I'll stitch around the sides to put the pocket on the lining. All right, there is a dart at the bottom of the purse. Now, I didn't cut it out of the fabric because you want to keep the fabric intact when you make the dart, but I did cut it out of the pattern so I can just trace that onto the pattern. So I'm going to trace the darts onto the patterns, all 4 pieces, and then I'm going to go over to the machine and I'm going to sew on that dotted line that line that I'm going to make in order to make the dart and make the purse round at the bottom. Okay, I transferred all the darts. I don't know if you can see them. There you go, you see that one. I transferred them to the little ends down here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch them up, and I'm going to make sure this line and this line are together. Sometimes if you take a pen and you put it through one, you can see if you're lined up with the other one. That's pretty lined up right there. When I put my pen through, it goes through both lines. So all I'm going to do is going to go from the top of the dart and sew down. And I'm going to sew it on all 4 of the pieces to make the rounded bottom. All right, we've got all of our darts sewn in the corners. And we're going to leave those whole because it's just, we'll tab them over to one side or the other depending how we're sewing them. And we're going to sew the 2 exterior pieces together, right sides together. And since this seam, I went ahead and matched this seam when I was cutting out the pattern. I matched the 2 seams here. I'm going to just flip that seam up or down on one side so they'll be alternating. Kind of like a quilt, you know, you want that heavy seam to be on the opposite side of each other so you don't get a big seam or heavy bulk there. So on one side, I'm gonna press it up. I'm just gonna finger press it. But this is what we're doing now. We're gonna sew both the front together, all the way from this the top where the strap's gonna meet, all the way down and around. So sides and bottom, not the top. And the same with the lining. But we need to leave our magic hole, so we're going to put a hole about 4 to 5 inches at the bottom. So when we're putting them together, we can turn them out through the hole in the lining. So let me go ahead and sew the 2 sides together. Okay, let's talk about this strap for a minute. I took as much length off of the side of the jeans as I could, as was available, and I had to join it here in the middle like you would a quilt binding. So we're going to trim that off to about 1/4 inch here. That's a little more than 1/4 inch, so let me take a little bit more off, because we don't want that seam to be bulky. All right, and what it ends up being is about 53 inches long. Now we don't need 53 inches. I figure we need about 45. And what I'm thinking is about 3 inches to put on one end of the purse where it meets the strap, to put one of the D-rings, one of these in there. And then we need another one of these for the rest of the strap. And I think since I want it to be 40 and I need 1 inch to loop over the ring, as well as probably 1/2 inch to sew it in, I'm thinking 45 should be more than enough. So we're going to cut this down
to 45 inches. And then we're going to cut this down, which I've done the same thing. The typical bolt of fabric is, 42, 44 inches. So I had to do the same thing. I cut as much as I could lengthwise from salvage to salvage. And then I joined it like this, just like you would a quilt binding. So you lay them on each other, right sides together at this angle, sew across here, and that creates that nice, clean, versatile seam. What I mean by versatile is it doesn't get bulky, and you don't worry too much about. Sometimes when you're running things straight together, they tend to go up and down. Your seams aren't always straight. This team seems to make a better seam. So, and it also gives a little give. Okay, got our 2 strap pieces here, and of course they're longer than we need. I folded them in half with the seamed part at the middle of the strap. We need them to be 42 inches long for the long adjustable portion of the strap. And then we're going to save 3 inches down here for the one that'll connect to the other end of the purse. I'll show you how it works. It's kind of, can you see that? It's kind of like that. I need this little 3-inch piece down here to connect it to the purse. And then I need a 1-inch piece to connect it to the other ring. So don't worry, it's going to work out. I hope. So I'm going to cut this 21 inches long. That will double over to be the 42 we need. So now these are 42 inches long. This is our primary strap. And then these little pieces, we'll just keep one. They're 5 inches long. I don't need something quite that long, but I think it'll be okay if we have one that long. So we just need one of each of these for the end that'll connect to the other side of the purse. Okay, it's time to do a little pressing. And in the original, you were pressing both sides completely to the middle, which gave you were cutting it 2 inches wide, so it gave you a 1-inch strap. I wanted a little wider strap. I'm still going to press in a 1/2 inch, but I'm not pressing it all the way to the middle. Now, if you're using a thinner fabric, you can turn around and put interfacing in this to give it a little more strength. Because I'm using denim, I am not too worried about needing some extra strength. So, press that a little longer. And so I'm just pressing in a 1/2 inch on each side. And you can use your hemming ruler. You could mark it with a marker before you do it if you wanted to. I'm not sure how much that would help because you'd be folding over the line. But we're just making this into an 1.5 inch strap. Now there's a different way. Obviously you could do this. You could just do it traditionally where you sewed them on top of each other, turned them inside out. But with this denim, that's a little tough. It's a little thick. These are just the little strap pieces that are going to go on the end. Again, make sure that you're on the right side of your denim. You know what the right side looks like. And just fold in a 1/2 inch. Check it. People get used to eyeballing a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch. Just happens. So I'm going to do this. This is the little piece that'll connect it to the purse on one side. And then I'm going to do the whole strap like this. Okay, we're at the machine, and again, I've got my 2 strap pieces, and this is a close-up view. I've got them folded in a 1/2 inch on each side to the wrong side. That's the right side. And we're going to just put these together and stitch down each side. And I'm going to get it, like I said, as close to that edge as I can, so it's a little, maybe a 1/4 inch, maybe less than a 1/4 inch. I'm putting my needle all the way over to the side as far as it'll go. All right, to avoid bulk, I just did a really strong zigzag several times over that raw edge so it won't fray. And then I attached it to my buckle. And now I have put this square buckle on here. So my belt is facing up, or I guess the lining's facing up. And then I'm going to go back in here. I'm not worried about this edge because this is going to get caught in the purse lining, the purse seam. And back here. So now I have my buckle. And there we go. And now this will get attached into my seam. And this will get attached into my seam. And that way it'll be adjustable via this buckle. Okay, we've got the bag turned right side out. We've got our handle pinned on, where you'll see that if you were to turn it inside out, the lining would be on the inside. So we've got that all lined up right. Now we're going to put our tab on, and we're also going to put the other side of our little magnet. Now, the tricky part about this, actually it's not tricky. We're just going to take apart our little extra piece back there, and we're going to decide where we want this to go. Now, the directions say about 2 inches down from the top in the center, and that would be right there. So I think what I want to do is I actually want to do it from the inside. So I've folded the line, and I can still see the line where I folded, and I'm going to put it in here, put the little dot, the center, over the what am I thinking? Over the fold, and I'm going to make my little lines. I'm not making them super dark. I don't think they're going to bleed through, but it wouldn't matter if they did. We're going to be on top of that. I'm going to fold that, and I'm going to clip it. And I'm not clipping the middle part, just the two sides. I learned my lesson with the last one. I don't want this little middle part to poke through. So again, this is why I'm using this. So I'm going to take my snap. I'm going to put it through here. I'm going to put my little buffer piece there on there. Like that. There we go. And then I'm going to put my little back plate on there. And again, I'm going to bend them out like that. It's tough. If you need pliers or a screwdriver or whatever, but that's what I'm trying to do. Now this has got a little plastic piece on it. So I'm going to take my little plastic piece off. And it just happens to have a little, I'm going to leave the little cover on it since I'm giving this away. And that way it won't get damaged. So make sure our snap works. There we go. Okay, snap's working. Now, we need to add our tab to the other side. So we're going to turn our bag over. And again, I creased, just finger creased the center point. And let's crease this center point so we'll have something to match to. All right, and remember, like sides together. So we're going to put our little fold right over our fold here. Make sure we're lining it up like that. And we're just going to pin it there. Now, I might go over to the machine
and do a little bit of initial basting of all these pieces before I put on my lining. Let's put our bag inside of our lining. So we're going to open the lining up and put our bag completely inside of it. Like that. We want to make sure that our strap is deep inside and it doesn't get caught in any of the sewing of the top. So we're going to sew around the top and then we'll turn it out using the hole we left in our lining. So let's get to it. All sewn up at the top, all the way around. I am going to debulk some of these seams, maybe with the pinking shears, just right here where the strap well, you know what, actually no, I think I'm going to leave that, and the reason I'm going to leave that is the strength that lends to that seam. So we're just going to turn it inside out because we don't have a lot of curves or anything to worry about, and then we're going to top stitch it and see how it turns out. So I always like this process. It kind of is revealing. So revealing whether or not you messed up too. So we turn it inside out. Here is our lining. And we will stitch that up as soon as we make sure that everything is lined up properly. So we're going to put our lining in here. Our pocket. Thank God it's facing the right way. I have done that before too. Alright, now after we press it, I think it's going to be super cute. There's our button. So we're going to press it, top stitch it, and call it a bag. Okay, everybody. I think it turned out super cute. It is made out of 2 jean legs, 1 pair of pants, 2 legs. The strap is adjustable. It will go up to a little over 40 inches, so it is great for crossbody wearing. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I hope whoever wins will enjoy it too. Again, this is my giveaway for my 1-year anniversary, and just like, subscribe, comment with the secret word, and I'll be picking a random winner for next week's video on July 26th. I'll catch y'all on the flip side of our next project.